Hello and welcome to Nice and Blunt. I'm Adam Mariancho and it's time for another live stream. It's Friday, August 8th, 9:10 a.m. Let's go. All right, we don't usually do streams in the morning, but I am a bit busy today. I got some plans and I thought I'd get in some content early in the morning. Thought I'd keep you on your toes. You never know when I will be going live. But we are going to hop into, I think, the MMG tournament. I've been enjoying the MMG tournament. $5 entry, 30K to first, and while the advance rate maybe not the best we've ever seen, there is 1 in 5 in week 16, a 225 seat final. And if you do make the final, you do get $400. So that would be pretty nice if we maxed out our entries. I think you do still make some money. Yeah, you can drop 250 in this and still make 150 if one team gets to the final. So I do like this tournament, and for some reason, I don't know why, shit gets wild in these lobbies. I don't know why, but there have been some really, really good prices on a lot of players. Let me get some technical stuff sorted out before we go with the live chat. Best Ball on Call is in here with us. Yes, early changeup, mixing it up just a little bit. Different times, maybe some different people will hop in with us. But we are going to do the MMG. Again, $5 tournament. If you want to join with me, I might do a second one, but probably not. This will perhaps be your only chance. Let's do one right now. Hop in this second if you want to join, and I will join. Should be linked up. Odds are there's still some spots available. 7 spots available. Hopefully this does not take too long. But yes, excited for today. I'm playing 18 holes of golf. Not 18 rounds. That'd be insane. One full round of golf, not a 9-hole, full 18. Going to a par 72. So should be fun. If anyone is in Los Angeles, I'm playing at the Harding course in Griffith Park. So should be nice. Very excited for that today. So wanted to get in some streams before that. I'll be busy in the evening. So generally I do 3 streams a week. We do either Monday or Tuesday, Thursday or Friday, and then definitely Sunday. So we didn't do it yesterday. We got to do it today. 1 spot remaining. 1 spot left. It is now full. So we're going to see if the new format, I don't know if I'm sure if you're watching, you've probably seen, the new board is much different. I don't know if it's going to work for our new format setting. I might need just need to go to the previous one. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, I think it's too wide to put on the side here. So I think I'm going to scrap this. Unfortunately, I did kind of like it, but it is what it is. I can't decide if I like the new draft board with all the pictures and everything. Feels a little bit bulky. Not my favorite. But maybe it's just because it's different. All the change. We're not used to it. Anyway, this draft is now underway. Team 1 is on the clock. But we did draw the 10 spot. Not the worst thing in the world. Love the options you have in round 2, but sometimes the values do not fall to the 10 pick in terms of like ADP fallers. But I remember the first 2 lobbies I did in this tournament, I was at pick like 8 and 9, and I swear on both of them I got Justin Jefferson at that price. I was like, hell yeah. And then ever since then I've been getting good deals in this MMG tournament. So hopefully we get lucky again. We did just see Gibbs go at 6. It's been a while since I've seen Gibbs at 6. That's kind of the latest he'll ever go. But I've been seeing him go earlier and earlier as of late. Not going to get Jefferson today. Nico goes, so I will take the slight discount on Puka. I'm not that worried about Stafford. I mean, like, Stafford does not need to be practicing right now. Like, yeah, it's kind of valuable, but Stafford is a veteran. Stafford knows the system. Stafford's the glue that keeps that team together. I think he'll be active. I know the back injury is a little concerning, but I'm heavily invested in Devontae Adams, so maybe it's just wishful thinking. But as Adams' price has fallen and Puka's been starting to dip, I've been scooping up a little more Puka and maybe cooling it just a little bit on my exposure to Adams. But I still trust both of them. I still think Stafford will be healthy, and I think he'll be active. I think it'll be okay. I'm not too worried about it. But do we go A-Chain or do we go Derrick Henry? I have a lot of A-Chain, so I will mix in Derrick Henry here. I have them in the same tier, so it's not that big of a deal. And for some reason, I feel like the vibes in Miami are just fucking brutal. Vibes in Miami don't give me a lot of confidence. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to Derrick Henry this time. If you want to go A-Chain, I don't fault you at all. He goes right after. We take Derrick Henry, and it's really splitting hairs between the two. But if you're in full PPR, A-Chain's definitely the better pick. This is half PPR. It's not that big of a deal. I still expect Derrick Henry to score more touchdowns than A-Chain. Captain Spock in here saying McVay says Stafford will work out tomorrow and practice on Monday. That's great news. I felt like they were just being cautious. Like, there's no need for them to risk anything with Stafford right now. They need him. But good to know he may be returning to the field very shortly. Reflect the Sun, welcome in. Good morning. Thank God it is Friday. Good to see you. Early morning stream. And here's what I'll do. If this draft is not going how I am hoping it does, by like round 8, I'll hop into another one. We'll do a second one. But I do think I need to log off by like 10:15. Most likely. But let me minimize this just a little bit. There we go. I think that fits better. Anyways, some news yesterday. We did see Rashawn Slater of the Chargers, left tackle, go down with injury. Joe Alt going to slide over to left tackle, so the right side might not be as good as we were expecting. I mean, definitely not as good. Replacing Rashawn Slater with someone on the depth chart was not a starter. Has to be worse. So maybe Omarion Hampton, not as good. I still trust Justin Herbert a lot, especially with the addition of Keenan Allen. I'm not worried about Herbert at all. I think Herbert's a steal going off the board as quarterback 17. I think he's in the top 12 at quarterback. And especially with Keenan Allen addition, I trust him. I don't think the left tackle missing is the end of the world. It's not great, but it's not going to move any of these players down the board very much. If anything, the Keenan signing affects the Chargers offense a little bit more. Maybe Ladd not as coveted, but still probably a second round pick. He was kind of a tier break. Now I'd probably put him in the same lumping as T. Higgins. But there's a chance that now Justin Herbert's going to throw the ball a little bit more, given their run blocking may not be as good. I don't think the Chargers offense is going to miss a beat, in all honesty. I'm not that worried about it. On the clock, JSN at the top of ADP. I think that is the pick. I do rank JSN above everyone else, a top 15 receiver. Maybe they really changed their system with Clint Kubiak. Perhaps things aren't the same. But when DK Metcalf was not on the team last year, JSN averaged 21.5 points per game. He was elite, and he was putting up like 130 yards per game when that was the case. So this year, DK Metcalf's gone. He was replaced with Cooper Kupp, not a player I trust to stay healthy. And I think there is a world where Darnold looks almost as good as he did in Minnesota. Maybe not that elite, but still pretty good. I think JSN's a good round 3 pick. But after we take JSN, Breece Hall, George Kittle, Mike Evans off the board. I've been really trying to avoid Breece Hall these days. The news about Braylon Allen has been in the mix for a long time, but I'm starting to believe it's pretty legit. This is kind of a weird spot in the draft, though. I'll just go elite QB. We'll go Jaden Daniels. I'll go Jaden Daniels. But Reflect the Sun saying Genty Jitters, not doing much yesterday. I don't have many shares, though. I'm not going to overreact to, what was it, like one drive when he was on the field? 3 touches for -1 yards. It's not good, but they were playing the Seahawks. A decent defense, but it's the preseason. Who cares? Mainly, it's their offensive line that should terrify you. But the thing about O-line, it's kind of a position group that needs a lot of reps together. They're often not the best early in the season. It's a position group that kind of relies a little bit on the right choreography. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of reps you got to get in. I'm not going to panic just because Genty was bad in week 1 preseason. I think he'll be fine. I'm not going to overreact to Genty, but not ideal, not great. One thing I did love to see was Torrey Horton. Torrey Horton, my boy. Yes, Torrey Horton. I'm so glad I've been on the Torrey Horton train since May. Absolutely a fan of Torrey Horton. He did score a very nice touchdown. Those spin move. Just hit that circle button. Hit it like twice to slide into the end zone. And again, it's preseason. I don't want to overreact. The fact that Marquez Valdez-Scantling was not on the field at all is probably a sign that he is still behind MVS on the depth chart, but it's still the preseason. Things can change over the course of the year. Rookies usually get better over time, and I'm very optimistic that inevitably Cooper Kupp will get hurt and Torrey Horton will be above MVS on the depth chart at that point in time. So I think Torrey Horton's still alive to be the number 2 receiver for the Seahawks by the end of the season, mainly because Cooper Kupp is not a reliable player to stay healthy. So love to see that on Torrey Horton. I'm at like 12% exposure on Torrey Horton. So I've been hitting it since the draft, basically. Since these tournaments launched in May, I've been all aboard the Torrey Horton train. Trying not to go too overboard. I'm not a guy that wants like 30% of a player in round 18. So I have been mixing it up, but really to have any player in round 18 above 5% means you like them a lot. I got him at 12%. I've been grabbing Torrey Horton, and the drafts I did last night, I have been taking him a little bit higher, like late round 16, just to get ahead of it. But watch, there's a lot more preseason games this weekend. There's going to be a lot of other names that do pop off. People will start to forget about Torrey Horton just a little bit as some other late round guys do pop off. But very excited about Torrey Horton. We will see what happens with him. But after I go Jaden, we see Xavier Worthy. Jalen Hurts now officially like an early 4th round pick. It's about time. Ted McMillan at the 406, followed by Rashee Rice, DJ Moore, George Pickens, Cortland Sutton, James Cook, Jamison Williams, DK Metcalf, and Ken Walker, that team at 2. That team at 2 has some good running backs with Trey McBride, Tyreek Hill. Team at 2, not looking bad. But Travis Hunter, Zay Flowers, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Calvin Ridley. Ooh, Travion Henderson goes. Was kind of planning to go Travion, in all honesty. But maybe we can still get Chuba. Nah, Chuba gets sniped. I will go James Conner. I'd rather invest in the Arizona backfield than the Saints backfield. In the last 2 years, James Conner has been a little more healthy than Kamara overall. So splitting hairs between these 2 players, but I will go James Conner. I like the Cardinals offense a little bit more than the Saints. Jamie, welcome in. For me, it's still the morning, but you're heading to the Fantasy Football Expo today for the weekend. Hope you have fun. And then We do have Jaden Daniels. I will go Debo Samuel. Very tempting to take RJ Harvey here. I was never taking RJ Harvey in the early 5th round. There was a time when he went in the 4th. So I've been trying to scoop him up anytime he goes in the 6th. But based on this team with Jaden Daniels, I think it's more valuable to have the stack. And I'll take Debo. So perhaps I should have gone with the rookie instead of James Conner. Having 2 running backs over the age of 30 is not ideal. But RJ Harvey in a bit of a committee. I trust the workload a little bit more for James Conner. So have him ranked higher. Going to trust the rankings. That is how I see it. And then I do want the stack, Jaden Daniels and Debo Samuel. But Steve, hello. Welcome in. Hope y'all are having a good Friday morning. And I doubt anyone watching is prepared to join me here. But if you would like to, and you know what this sound means, go ahead and smoke it if you got it. Always satisfying to hit the pipe at 9:30 in the morning. Always feels good. So the team so far is pretty balanced. We have Puka, Derrick Henry, JSN, Jaden Daniels, James Conner, and Debo Samuel. Good little stack with Daniels and Debo. And while it was kind of tempting with the plan of taking Daniels to go Terry in the 3rd, I think JSN is better this year than Terry. Wake and bake, baby. Jamie, it's kind of funny to me the commitment you have of these French comments. To put them into the translator every single time is kind of hilarious. But if there's a good value at running back, I would take it. DeAndre Swift falling to the 7th round is a really good value. I would scoop him up for sure if available. Definitely didn't expect him, though, at the 7-10. But at this range in the draft, I really don't like the running back value, so I think I'm going to load up on receiver. If somehow Laporta makes it, he does not. I would have taken Laporta. But kind of disgusting. I'm not excited to draft Joe Mixon at this time. Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason. Not my favorite way to attack the Vikings. I think TJ Hawkinson's more valuable than them, straight up. Even at a different position. And I will just draft Jaden Higgins, my highest ranked receiver. I'm a believer in Jaden Higgins this year. We do have 2 week 8 buys at the receiver spot, so not the end of the world, but maybe a tiebreaker decision to factor in. Aaron Jones off. I don't want Mixon. I don't want Brian Robinson. Even though he's in Washington, I don't want Brian Robinson at all. And then I have a shit ton of TJ Hawkinson. Maybe I should go Cooper Kupp, but I'll take TJ Hawkinson. I meant to say I have a shit ton of Darnell Mooney. So I'm not going to go Mooney. Tempting to go with Cooper Kupp, but I think the elite upside of TJ Hawkinson could literally be better than Trey McBride this year. So I will take him. He's done that in the past. I'm not dying to invest in JJ McCarthy, but that Addison suspension definitely bolsters Hawkinson's value early in the season. It also helps that Justin Jefferson has missed some practice time with a hamstring injury. There's just more reps for Hawkinson. And in general, rookies usually favor the tight end a little bit more as a safety valve. So I think Hawkinson's poised for a bounce back season. Last year, he never really got going coming off the ACL. And I think that offense is going to rely on him quite a bit. So I trust him. Like I mentioned, I'd rather go TJ Hawkinson than Aaron Jones or Jordan Mason. And I could see a world where Hawkinson has 100 catches next year and at least like 5 touchdowns. Leor asking, did you watch the Bengals game last night? Confirmed I'm taking Chase 101. Yeah, I think we got enough info to bump up Jamar Chase in our rankings. I think there was enough of a sample size. He scored 2 touchdowns. He looked really good. So I think if you were on the fence about him, I think you can bump him up. I don't think I'm worried about Jamar Chase anymore. He's been, pretty bad in recent history, but last night in the preseason, I think it confirmed it. I think we can trust him as the number one receiver. Jamie saying, do you know who Drew Dinkmeyer is from Establish the Run? I've heard of Establish the Run. I can't say I watch it very much. I've tuned in a few times, but not enough to know those creators off the top of my head. I can't put a face to the name, but the name sounds familiar. I definitely know what Establish the Run is. Can't say I know who that is, but you're saying the smart dude said yesterday his most owned player is Roshan Johnson. I am much more of a Swift stan than Roshan, but I can see the path for Roshan. He was like heavily involved on the goal line last year. It's definitely possible it works out, especially if Ben Johnson uses him like a DeAndre Swift, Dave Montgomery type of number 2 back. It's possible, but I am a little worried about Kyle Monangai. I'll be honest with you. Quincy Jones saying, real quick question. I'm sure you've answered 15 times already. How do you think the Slater injury affects Hampton's fantasy outlook? Where do you even have him ranked? I don't think it bumps down Hampton at all. I was already high on Hampton before all the Najee news came in. I already had Hampton as my running back 13, and I had him right behind James Cook in early July. So since then, I've bumped him up above James Cook. He's my running back 12. I'm not going to go Travis Etienne. That feels like a death sentence. I already have a good tight end, though, so not going to take Evan Ingram. I'm going to go Luther Burden. Some good hype on Burden. Maybe Caleb available right around the turn. He's going to be a pick. I will answer your full question, Quincy, after this next selection. I want to focus. I think I'm ignoring running back right here still. I don't want ETN. I'm not dying to have Scattaboo right now. He's fine, but I think Tyrone Tracy is better than I thought, so I've been fading Scattaboo a little bit. And in general, I'm not taking him very often in the first place. But the upside with Caleb is super tempting, but I think I'm going to pass. Instead, I think I'm going to go Loveland and just lock up like 2 elite caliber tight ends. If Hawkinson does disappoint me, I think the upside of Loveland is really good. So even though he's ranked behind Tyler Warren in the ADP, that's not how I see it. And who knows, maybe we'll get extremely lucky. I have seen Caleb fall to the 11th round, but I've never seen him go at the 10th pick of round 11. So not expecting him. That's for sure. We have Jaden Daniels, though, so we're not in desperate need of him. If we luck out, that team with DJ Moore passes. The team at Roma Dunze is on the other side of the board. We will still be picking before that Roma Dunze team. But no, Caleb goes at the 10-8. Already fell. That team with DJ Moore does not pass. Anyways, back to Hampton. I have Hampton ranked as my running back 12. I have him behind, obviously, Bijan, Saquon, Jahmyr Gibbs, CMC, Genty, Henry, A-Chain, Chase Brown, Bucky Irving, Jonathan Taylor, and Josh Jacobs. I think once those guys are off the board, Hampton is my running back 12. If you wanted to put Kyron Williams above him as of today, I wouldn't fault you for it. I don't think that's a terrible decision. I have Kyron at running back 13. I think they're both third-round picks, at least in like underdog format. Maybe if you're in a hyper-competitive running back league, maybe you have to take him in round 2. But I do have Hampton at 12, Kyron at 13, James Cook at 14, and then I think there is a massive tier break at the position. But Kenneth Walker is my running back 15 as of today. I'll be updating my rankings at running back in the next week. And with all of the turmoil at that position, I am bumping up Kenneth Walker to running back 15. I'm still fading Breece Hall. Breece, I think, is the player you don't want in round 3. I'll still take Hampton. I'll still take Kyron there. But I do not want Breece Hall in the 3rd round. Leor asking, are you worried about Taj Brooks at all for Chase Brown? Not at all. Not at all. It takes a while for rookies to get involved in that system. That's what we saw for Chase Brown as well. Yeah, I assume this is in relation to Roshan, Jamie. That's who you're talking about. Roshan's tempting, and I do have a decent amount of Roshan, but I kind of just want more pass catchers in that system. I'm a little worried about the run game, in all honesty. Like, I know they bolstered the O-line, but it was so bad last year. I don't know exactly how good it's going to be. And maybe I'm underestimating Roshan a little bit, but I will say the committee overall kind of concerns me on his touches over there. But the team after me has one quarterback. I think I'm going to just take Ray Davis because my running back core is weak, and I absolutely love Ray Davis in this range of the draft. So I'm going to draft Ray Davis as my RB3. And then if J.J. McCarthy does circle back, I'll take J.J. But we could get a really good price on Goff. Not the worst thing in the world. Or we could also just take C.J. Stroud. We do have Jaden Higgins. And that's not a bad stack either. But Goff, I think, is a much more valuable player. Straight up. So I understand why Dogfish, without a Lion, does take him. Trey Harris starting to fall considerably. But when I have Jaden Daniels, I'm a little more willing to take the risk on J.J. McCarthy. I don't have him ranked here at all. I still have Penix and Stroud ranked above him. But I do see the upside for J.J. McCarthy. And in best ball, I'm willing to take the swing, especially at a full round discount. We do have T.J. Hockenson, so it does make sense to grab the stack. But I'll be honest with you, I do rank J.J. McCarthy in the range of like Bryce Young at quarterback. But the fact that Sam Darnold was top 10 last season is a reason to sometimes believe that McCarthy can hold a lot of value. So he falls in the draft. I do have him ranked behind guys like Love and Trevor Lawrence, Herbert and Goff. And he is going behind them. But I do have a few players who are going later I have ranked above J.J. McCarthy. Like I mentioned C.J. Stroud, Michael Penix. I even have Geno Smith ranked above J.J. McCarthy. But not in a different tier. So we got T.J. Hockenson. We'll take J.J. McCarthy. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. And with T.J. Hockenson, Colston Loveland, along with Jaden Daniels, J.J. McCarthy, I think I'm done at tight end and quarterback. That's always a nice luxury to have. We will be pretty much strictly running back and wide receiver the rest of the way, unless we get a massive value on someone and we feel like we can comfortably take a luxury selection. But in general, that is not what I will be doing. I'll just fill out the roster with running back and wide receiver. We know we need 6 running backs on this team. We only have Derrick Henry, James Conner, and Ray Davis so far. Leor says, Najee's eye looks so cooked. Perhaps, but at some point, the human body will heal. I could see, like, week 6 rolling around and his eye is back to normal and, like, he's fine. But at that point, he may just, like, never get his job back. But I've never been a believer in Najee Harris in this offense. I've said it from the beginning, ever since he was brought in free agency. Najee Harris is not the new J.K. Dobbins. He is the new Gus Edwards. He is the new Gus Edwards. And that is not a valuable player in the Chargers offense. Reflect the Sun also likes Monangai. I've been starting to mix him in a little bit, especially if I'm going to take Torrey Horton a little bit early. I'll grab Monangai in the 18th if that's the best running back available. But I've also been trying to get back in on Kareem Hunt. I've been fading Kareem Hunt a little bit too much. But Bryce Young goes. Michael Penix off the board. Penix fell a little bit. The two teams after me only have, they both have 5 running backs. One of them only has 4 wide receivers. So I would have taken Keenan Allen there 100%. But instead, I'm going to pivot to my next highest ranked receiver. And I do believe Demario Douglas is a good investment in New England. I don't think Stephon Diggs is like that much more valuable. Diggs is definitely the guy you want. But I could still see Demario score some touchdowns at a higher rate. I was really hoping for Braylon Allen there. I was surprised this team with 5 running backs already goes Braylon Allen. But I guess their core is not that good. I wanted Braylon Allen, though. I think Braylon Allen's a good pick at this point. But with him off the board, I will pivot, and instead I will go with Austin Eckler. We do have Jaden Daniels, and I don't think Eckler's role is going to change, even if Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is legit. I think Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is going to steal Brian Robinson's job, and Debo's also going to score Brian Robinson's touchdowns. I don't think Eckler's going to change very much at all. Quincy saying, very happy with his underdog drafts the past month and a half. I'm done for now, not spending anything until end of preseason. I got plenty of guys that are now going earlier, like Keenan, Tank. I feel like including anything about Najee's eye for a low-res photo is kind of misdirecting. Yeah, I'm not willing to write off Najee completely, but I am just such a believer in Hampton. I think even if Najee's eye is fine, Najee's not that valuable. But for sure, we are definitely beefing with Dogfish for taking a very good selection with Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen might be going a legitimate 3 rounds too late. You could make an argument that Braylon Allen is going to be just as involved as guys like Jordan Mason and J.K. Dobbins. The only difference is that Breece Hall is much better than the running back ones in those other offenses. But Aaron Glenn comes from Detroit. I think he's going to have a Dave Montgomery role. So Braylon Allen, hyper valuable right now. I'm surprised he has not been moving up the board faster, because I think he's much more valuable week 1 than Trey Benson. I think he's in the same ballpark as Ray Davis and Tyjae Spears. I think Braylon Allen is at least 2 rounds more valuable than where he just went. And someone did reach on him a little bit. He's been slowly moving up the board the last week or two. If he has a good preseason game, I think he will move up considerably this weekend. Jamie asking, what do I think of Hollywood Brown in best ball with the Rice suspension? I'll take him if I have Mahomes, but in general, I'm never drafting Mahomes. So I almost never take Hollywood anymore. I was interested when Rice got suspended even more, but then Hollywood got hurt. Hollywood already has a knee injury right now. And Hollywood has been one of the most injury-prone players in the NFL the last 4 seasons. Hollywood is a walking injury, just waiting to happen. I'm surprised he doesn't start every game on crutches. But M on the clock. We do have Puka on this team, and Stafford fell. Teams after me have 2 quarterbacks apiece, but they got Burrow, Cam Ward, Mahomes, Goff. Actually, we could also go Darnold, so I'm not going to take Stafford right here. Instead, I think I'm going to go Zach Ertz. Oh, right. I had really good tight ends on this team. Probably didn't need to do that, but I wanted another Washington player. Jonnu goes off. I mentioned I could have a luxury pick, so with Jaden Daniels, I probably won't take that quarterback here. I'll probably pass. Yeah, we're gonna take a shot that Stafford circles back all the way around, and I'll go Roshan. We mentioned Roshan multiple times. Some hopeful optimism with Roshan, but like I mentioned, a little worried about Kyle Monungai. If I'm wrong about Monungai, who is a seventh round pick, possibly irrelevant, um, there's a world where Roshan still scores like 6, 7 touchdowns this year. I think last year he scored 5. He scored at least 4. He was their goal line back last year, but completely different coaching staff. I think Swift is still the guy you want in Chicago by a wide margin, but don't hate Roshan, especially in round 16. I planned to go with Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, in all honesty, but JCM has been moving up the board. He's more of a 15th round pick lately. If he has a good preseason game this weekend, JCM might go ahead of Najee Harris. So not dying to chase him up the board, but I do think he'll still have value at that price. If I'm grabbing the Commanders running backs, it's Eckler and JCM. It's not Brian Robinson. But the injury to Hollywood makes me concerned. That's why I would go Wandale, but I don't have Wandale ranked very high either. I'm not dying to draft either of them. Quincy Jones, I feel like it'll be 6 weeks in terms of suspension. That's what I'm thinking. I think 5 or 6 weeks, probably 6 weeks. If it's 4 games, I'd be pretty surprised. I think it'll be at least 5, if not 6. What are your thoughts on Keaton Mitchell? Overhyped right now. I mean, he's going to definitely get the bump. He looked pretty good. In the scenario where Derrick Henry does get injured, then I would rather have Keaton Mitchell than Justice Hill. But I don't think Justice Hill's role will disappear. Justice Hill did not play in the preseason. That's a big sign he's above Keaton Mitchell on the depth chart. So I think if you're drafting one, it would be Justice Hill, who I think is pretty valuable in PPR, in all honesty. I think Justice Hill could give you like a 7-catch game every now and then. But the only value Keaton Mitchell has is if Derrick Henry gets hurt. So if that happens, Keaton Mitchell will be their RB1, probably more valuable in terms of like touchdown and yardage upside. But he's not going to be the 3-down back. Justice Hill will still be involved. And it'll be closer to a 50-50 committee than most people want to admit who are like hyping up Keaton Mitchell right now. So not super dying to draft him. But in best ball, the contingent upside is valuable. The Ravens running back is always a coveted option. So worth taking. Oh, damn. Darnold available. We have JSN. I'm going to go Torrey Horton. And then we'll see if Darnold is there. I already took the 3rd tight end, so I'm kind of really asking the Lord to not make me take him here. But I'm pretty comfortable with my receiving core. We got Puka, JSN, Debo, Jaden Higgins, Luther Burden, Demario Douglas, and Torrey Horton. It's not like the safest approach, but I think it's actually very valuable, like high floors with Demario and Jaden Higgins. We got 2 top 15 receivers in Puka and JSN. Debo, high upside. Jaden Higgins, high upside. Torrey Horton, high upside. I wasn't planning to go with 3 quarterbacks and 3 tight ends. I mentioned I was done with JJ McCarthy, but I don't trust JJ that much. And Darnold is such a steal here in the last round. I've got 2 Seattle pass catchers. I'm going to go with Darnold. I'll just take Darnold. So perhaps the 3-5-7-3 build is not ideal when you have Jaden Daniels, but I think it's fine. And our running back core is pretty good, even with kind of a thin tactic going Henry and James Conner. But Ray Davis, I'm really excited for. Eckler, I think, has a decent floor this year. And then Roshan, potential massive upside with him. Receiver is good enough. And then tight end is fucking loaded. I think Zach Ertz was the wrong pick. I think I should not have taken Zach Ertz. So what were my other options instead of Zach Ertz there? in round 15. I mean, considering the price I ended up getting on Darnold, I can't say I was dying to go in any other direction. Like, perhaps I should have invested in another running back. But honestly, I don't really regret it. We're a little loaded up at tight end, but that is one way to be a little more unique with the final roster. So, in order, our draft picks at the 10 slot were Puka, Derrick Henry, JSN, Jaden Daniels, James Conner, Debo Samuel, Jaden Higgins, TJ Hawkinson, Luther Burden, Colston Loveland, Ray Davis, JJ McCarthy, Demario Douglas, Austin Eckler, Zach Ertz, Roshan Johnson, Torrey Horton, and Sam Darnold. Really good price on Darnold. Not bad. Just a little risky with the 3 quarterbacks, 3 tight ends, given some of the names I do have. But a pretty good team. It's $950. I would like to do one more, but I honestly don't think I have time. Instead, I do have like 20 minutes. So let's take a look at my exposures, because we've done that in the past. We looked at the AFC teams. I never got around to the NFC teams. And now I have well over 220 drafts. We got 223 in the 2025 NFL season. Oh, I forgot to mention, I finally got my red badge. I think it happened on the last live stream. I didn't notice, but I do have a red badge now. I'm officially over 1,000 drafts on Underdog in my career. But let's take a look at the last 223 in this year's regular season. Almost all of them are tournament entries. I have maybe like 12 of the sit and goes of the 12-team leagues. So most of them are tournament entries, and I never really max out any of the tournaments. There are very few, unless it's like a small entry type of max. I'm not maxing it out in general. So let's take a look at the NFC teams. Yeah, that value on Darnold was so good. Hard to pass up. I think it was worth it. But we are going to go team by team, and let's start with the Seahawks since they're on the mind. My highest drafted Seahawk. Here, let me get this in frame properly so my head's not blocking it. So my number one most drafted Seahawk is Torrey Horton at 13%. I'm really, really high on Torrey Horton. I've been on the Torrey Horton bandwagon since May. Thought he was more of a third-round pick. He fell to round 5 because of an injury last year. But before that, when he was a sophomore and junior at Colorado State, he had 2 back-to-back seasons with like 1,300 yards. Or it was like 1,130 yards. They were both very similar. Let me pull that up just to be accurate. Yeah, runs a 4.4, 6'3", 196 pounds, is still only 22 years old, and 2 back-to-back seasons with 1,130 yards in 12 games at Colorado State. Also had 8 touchdowns in both of them. Really talented guy, got injured in his senior year, only played 5 games, but was playing pretty well, 5 catches a game. 353 yards in that span. Not the same numbers, though. It seems like they were kind of dipping a little bit in his senior year. But still, I think a really good, talented player, really good speed, and he's been healthy in practice ever since May. So he's been getting the reps, and he did shine in the preseason game. I do think he's going to be better than MVS. So I've been going with Torrey Horton in round 18. I also take a lot of JSN in the 3rd round. And reluctantly, I kind of regret this a little bit, but I have been tackling the backfield with more Zach Charbonnet than Kenneth Walker. I'm actually very underweight on Kenneth Walker. I kind of regret it, but I've taken so many receivers in the 5th round, a lot of Jalen Hurts as well. I was taking a lot of George Kittle when he used to go there. Like, in general, I'm taking receiver at that turn. So I kind of wish I had a lot more Kenneth Walker, but he has been getting injured, and that's why I do take Charbonnet a decent amount. But I also have an overweight share of Sam Darnold. I think he's a good player to mix in. We just got a great value on him. I have taken Milrow 3 times, but at 1%, it's pretty negligible. And then Cooper Kupp at 5%. I'm worried about him getting hurt. And then Elijah Arroyo is fine at 2%, though. I'm not dying to take Arroyo in general. Now let's look at the Rams, where I'm super overweight on Devontae Adams. I have him at 19%. Adams is my ride or die this year, basically. Stafford, I have at 12%. So hoping Stafford is healthy. I'm not going to panic over it. I think Stafford's going to be fine, but with some concerns as of today, I am fading him a little bit. Terrence Ferguson, though, a very coveted option for me in round 18 if I need a tight end, especially when I have Stafford and it's a stacking option. I love Terrence Ferguson this year. I don't trust Tyler Higbee. Puka, I have it 11%, so still high on Puka, but in round 1, it's a bit more difficult to get him. As he's been falling, I've been scooping him up like crazy. Love Puka. And then Kyron, I am underweight on. I'm a little more comfortable now that he signed that extension, but in general, I was fading him. I think his efficiency goes down. I think his touchdowns go down and go to Devontae Adams this year. And then them drafting Jarquez Hunter and having Blake Corum is a little concerning. I'm not really drafting the Rams running backs that often in general, but I will take a swing on Tutu Atwell and Jordan Whittington at about a 3% rate. If I have the Stafford stack, I'll consider them. Demarcus Robinson no longer with the team. But let's talk about the 49ers now. Let's take a look at that division. I have a shit ton of Brandon Ayuk, and it's my addiction. I'm just an Ayuk fanboy, and it cost me a lot of money last year. Hopefully it doesn't cost me again. He's more of a late season option in the first place, but he goes after pick 100 now. I'm willing to take the shot on Ayuk. But I love George Kittle. I think he's still a really good value in the 3rd round. I was taking him like crazy in the 4th and 5th, and I have him at just shy of 12%. Kittle's one of my most drafted tight ends. Love to take Kittle. I have Purdy at just under 11%. Love to stack him up with a lot of these Niners. I think he's a decent value in round 9. I got Juwan Jennings at 10%. I got Ricky Pearsall at 10%, so I'm pretty even on both of them. CMC I have right on average at 8.5%. A little worried about the injury risk, but the upside is too high. You can't fade CMC too much. And then I do have Garendo close to 8%, but I think Jordan James a little bit tricky. And then a player I do sneak in sometimes, I only have him at 3.6%. So keep in mind, this is not like a full-on endorsement, but I think given all of the injuries at the receiver position in San Francisco, there's so many things up in the air. I do draft Demarcus Robinson a little bit. Only if I have Brock Purdy will I do it. Only in round 18. He normally goes undrafted, and I think there is a world where he is pretty valuable. He had 7 touchdowns last year in the Rams offense. Could happen again, but I will mention you can't fully endorse him because he did plead no contest to a DUI charge, and that means he will get suspended for 3 games, most likely just like Jordan Addison. So expect him to miss the first 3 weeks, but until Ayuk comes back, I think he will be the number 3 receiver in San Francisco. Next up in this division is the Cardinals. And my most drafted Cardinal is James Conner. I have him at 10.3%. I also have Trey Benson above baseline at 9.9%. So I do think Benson has some value this year. It's mainly contingent upside if Conner gets hurt. But until that happens, I trust Conner to be a top 15 running back like he was last year. But at age 30, he probably gets hurt. And those are the only 2 players in Arizona I'm actually drafting above baseline. I have Michael Wilson at 4.9%, and honestly, every time I click Michael Wilson, I want to throw up, so not excited at all on Michael Wilson. I have Trey McBride at 4.5%. I've been trying to take a little bit more of him. I think he's a fine pick in round 3. I just prefer George Kittle so much more. And then Kyler Murray, I never take because I'm not really drafting the stacking options in general. So at 2.2%, I think Kyler's really overpriced at quarterback 8. I have him at quarterback 15. I think he's more of a Dak Prescott, Justin Fields type of value rather than a Bo Nix, Baker Mayfield type of value. I do not trust Kyler in the top 10 this season. And then a player I am never drafting, I almost just refuse to do it, basically. It's Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm not a believer in Marvin Harrison Jr. So in general, the only Cardinals I'm drafting are the running backs, James Conner, Trey Benson. I wish I had a bit more McBride, but I have no regrets on Marvin Harrison, Kyler Murray. I wish I had less Michael Wilson, to be honest with you. So that's it for the the NFC West. Let's go to the NFC North, and we'll start with the Packers. I got Marshawn Lloyd as my most drafted player. He did get hurt already, so that's not ideal. I've been fading him, but he goes in round 17, round 18. I don't think it's the end of the world. It's not going to be the death of me, but I do have a little bit more than I would like given his recent injury. But I do love Matthew Golden. I draft Golden at 12%. I think he's the guy you want for sure. Josh Jacobs, I also have 12%. I think he's a really good top 10 running back to scoop up. I got Jaden Reed at 11.7. I think he's a better pick in best ball, but this is best ball, so I do draft him quite a bit. If you're putting a gun to my head, draft one of Golden or Jaden Reed. 100% give me Golden this year. I trust Golden a lot more. But Jaden Reed, high spike week potential, 17 touchdowns in 2 years, and I do think there is some room for that to go up on average. I think he could put up another 10 touchdowns this season. I also like the dual threat ability. He does run the ball a little bit, and they designed some touches for him. But Jordan Love at 6%, Tucker Kraft at 5%. I wish I had more of both of them, to be honest with you. They're good stacking options, but oftentimes I get sniped on one, and then I kind of just pass on the other. But I wish I had more of Jordan Love and Tucker Kraft. I think they're more valuable than this exposure would give them credit for. But Romeo Doubs, no thank you. Dontavian Wicks, nah, I'll pass. Not excited with them. Next, let's talk about the Lions. And my most targeted player is Jamison Williams. I think JMO could be even better this season. I also love Jahmyr Gibbs. I definitely want to draft Jahmyr Gibbs as much as possible. Amon-Ra, I also have at 10%, so I'm in on all three of them at a high rate. I have Jared Goff at 9%. I'll take him stacked up, but I often have stacking options, so I do take him a decent amount. And then Sam Laporta at 7.2%. I've been fading just a little bit because I've been starting to like the price on TJ Hawkinson more, and then some other later tight ends are also so valuable. But Laporta, I still like to take Laporta. If I can get a good price on Laporta in the 7th round, I will happily take Laporta. But a player I'm not drafting that much is David Montgomery at 5%, and then Isaac Tesla at 4%, occasionally, but not my favorite round 18 guy. Next up, we got the Vikings and Jordan Addison, my most drafted player. I thought the price on him already factored in the 3-game suspension. I thought everyone knew that that was kind of automatic. So as he moves down the board, unless I have like a chance at Emeka Egbuka, who I do rank higher, I will take Addison. But in general, Addison, I think as he moves down the board, is worth chasing. Really high upside. 2 straight seasons in the NFL with 10 touchdowns. And I trust Kevin O'Connell a lot. So still drafting Addison, super high upside, especially in best ball. Love that pick. And I've been starting to get more in on TJ Hawkinson. We just drafted him in the last draft. So now up to 7.6%. I'm hoping that goes above 8 or 9 by the end of August. I like TJ Hawkinson now. The more I think about it. Then JJ McCarthy at 6.7%. He's fine, but only if I have the stack. In general, I'm not dying to take him. Jefferson, I have at 6%. So I'd rather take Jahmyr Gibbs or Saquon Barkley or Bijan than Jefferson, but I think he's still a decent option. I'm a little underweight at 6%. And then Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, I'm not dying to draft either running back. I don't like this committee. Kevin O'Connell, there's rarely a lot of touchdowns for Vikings running backs in the KOC system. Jalen Naylor I've taken once, and that was maybe like 5 days ago after Addison got suspended. But last in this division, we have the Bears. And my most coveted option is DeAndre Swift. I love DeAndre Swift this year. I do take Roshan at 10.8% as well. So I'm in on both of the running backs. I like the additions they made on the O-line. But if I can only take one, I think Swift is the guy. Going off at RB23, I think that's his floor this season. I do take Caleb Williams a lot as well. Kind of regret it a little bit, but I'm a believer in the upside. The upside is just way too high. The ceiling has such a high reward if it hits. There is some risk, though. A little bit of risk. He has been falling down the board a little bit lately. But I also take Loveland at a very high rate, 11% on Loveland. Love Colston Loveland. Rome Odunze at 9%, also overweight on him. And then Luther Burton at 8.5%. I'm right in line with the average exposure. But I am fading DJ Moore. I don't take DJ Moore very often. I think he's overpriced. I'd rather have Rome straight up. and I think he's more of a floor play than a good best ball pick. And then lastly, Kyle Monangai I have taken at 1% of the time. So in general, I'm not taking Monangai, but he is in the back of my mind when considering the Bears options. Let's go to the NFC South. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and my most drafted player is Rachaad White, just because he goes so late. Running back 47 is such a good value. And even if Bucky increases his snap share, I still think Rachaad White will be on the field for like at least 35% of the time and is a good pass catcher. So I do stack him up with Baker a lot. And I'm overweight on just about every single Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Like Bucky Irving, I have at 12% as well. I have 26 shares of Bucky, only 27 shares of Rachaad White. So in all honesty, given the price adjustment, I'm more in on Bucky. It's just a bit harder to get him. You get sniped on him a little bit more often. But I have Chris Godwin at 11%, Egbuka right behind him at 11% as well. I will probably switch this by the end of August. I'll have Egbuka higher than Godwin for sure. I also think Jalen McMillan is very valuable, very high upside. Baker I have at 8%, and then Mike Evans just below baseline at 7%. This offense is a gold mine in fantasy. I want all of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, even Kate Otten at 5%, I think has some value based on how late he goes. But Jamie says I took Naylor and Butte and Elijah Moore in Battle of the Sexes tournament only because I wanted my team name to be Gonna Naylor Booty Moore. The joke is worth the setup. I completely understand. But let's try and rip through the rest of this division. We got the Panthers next up. My most drafted Panther is Tet McMillan at 12%. Love Tet McMillan. I've been starting to take some more elite quarterbacks instead of him lately, but I still think he's a really valuable option, especially assuming Adam Thielen goes down at some point. Tet's going to be phenomenal. I think he has top 20 upside if he's that involved in the offense, like I'm expecting. But Bryce Young at 10%, love to stack him with Tet. It's very affordable. He goes a little bit later. I think he's just as valuable as JJ McCarthy this season. Next up, Rico Dowdle, I think as a super late running back handcuff, really, really interesting. Leggett, I'll take him, but not that much. These guys I am kind of fading a little bit, not dying to take him. Love Tet, love Bryce, but in general, don't love that many other players. So Jatavion, I've been trying to take him a little bit more at 5%, but him and Theo Johnson, I think, have the same upside. So as he moves up the board, I'll take Theo Johnson instead. Thielen at 3%. He's like 35 years old this season. I think odds are he gets hurt. But as a consolation prize at receiver, not terrible. Probably has more value at the beginning of the year than at the end. Chuba, I wish I had more Chuba Hubbard. But just like Kenneth Walker, I take a lot more receivers in the 5th round. And that's why I'm really underweight on Chuba Hubbard. I wish he was going closer to Travion Henderson because I rank Travion higher than him. I think they're the same type of option. Same type of tier player, but Chuba, just based on his price, I rarely get him. I wish I had more, though. So that's it for the Panthers. Next up, we got the Saints. Oh, God. I don't take any Saints at a high rate. I'm underweight every Saint. Chris Olave, 6%. Rashid Shaheed, 6%. Kamara, 4%. Juwan Johnson, 2%. Tyler Shuck, 1%. And then Devin Neal, less than 1%. Same with Cam Akers, less than 1%. So I never take Saints. I'm out on all the Saints this year. No desire at all. And then the Falcons also in this division. We got Darnell Mooney at a massive clip, 19.7%. I'm hoping he stays healthy, but as long as he doesn't miss enough time with that shoulder injury, wide receiver 49 is way too low. Mooney can put up top 35 numbers at the position. So love his quarterback upgrade with Penix. I'm still a believer in Darnell Mooney. As he falls down the board, I will chase him a little bit. Not dying to pass on Mooney just because of the shoulder injury. I think he'll be fine by week 4, and that's good enough. Michael Penix, love to take Penix, especially stacking with Mooney and London. I have London at 10%, so I'd take London quite a bit. Really good round 2 pick. And then Bijan at 8.5%, right with baseline. If I can get him, I'm happy to take Bijan. I do think Algiers a really good handcuff, especially on teams that you do have Bijan. I think that's a really good stacking option. But at 7%, I don't always take him like crazy. I'm out on Kyle Pitts at 4%, and then I've been starting to get in on Ray McCloud a little bit at just shy of 3%. But round 18, I'll rather take Torrey Horton instead. And then last division, we have the NFC East. We'll go Cowboys to start. I have Javonte at 8.5%. I wish this was Jaden Blue. Javonte not looking good, but I was in love with him in like the month of May, and then since like mid-June, I've never taken Javonte. I quickly stopped drafting Javonte. So no thanks there. CeeDee Lamb, I wish I had more of CeeDee Lamb, but I usually go running back instead of receiver, and I often don't get the right pick to take him. George Pickens, I wish I had a bit more, but in general, I don't love this Cowboys offense. Jake Ferguson, I'm also underweight. Jaden Blue, I'm underweight. Dak Prescott, underweight. Tolbert and Sanders, really underweight. I wish I had more George Pickens. I wish I had more Jaden Blue. But in general, I think the Cowboys could be a shit show. So I'm not that upset about it. But their passing offense is probably more valuable than I've given it credit for. I should probably draft more Cowboys on the stream and in general. But next up, we got the Eagles. And most drafted is Devontae Smith at 15%. Love Devontae Smith. I also really like Dallas Goedert. I think he's kind of a tier break option at the tight end position. Like Jalen Hurts. Love to stack Jalen and Goddard. I have Jalen Hurts at 8%, so right in line with average. And then A.J. Brown, it seems like I don't really get him that often to fall to me, so I'd rather go London for sure, and then oftentimes I'll take A-Chain and a running back instead. But if A.J. Brown's the highest at ADP, I'm happy to take him. I just have him just below baseline. Saquon, I was never getting him at like pick 2, and then I've taken him a bit more lately, but 6.7%, not bad. Shipley also just shy of 7%. And then once I've taken Jahan Dotson and kind of regretted it. But he didn't look terrible in the preseason. He's just never really getting the ball unless one of the other guys gets hurt. Next up, we got the Giants. Darius Slayton, my most drafted Giant, tied with Malik Neighbors at 7.2%. So both of them kind of below average. The fact that you can't stack them with a good quarterback is why I'm not dying to take them, but I do think Neighbors is a very good pick. Scattaboo below average as well at 6%. Theo Johnson at 5.4. Him and Jatavion Sanders, I like to flip-flop. I think they're both pretty interesting late-round tight ends. And then Wan'Dale Robinson in best ball, I have no interest. I'll take him in redraft, though, if I am in the last round and need a wide receiver. Jackson Dart, I've taken 4 times. So at 2%, no thank you. And then Tyrone Tracy, I'm also out on. I don't want any Giant running back this season. And then lastly, we have the Commanders. And Debo is my most drafted Commander at 11%. Eckler at 10%. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, I have above baseline at 9.4. So as he moves up the board, I'm probably not going to take him as much. Happy to have gotten him early on. Just like Torrey Horton, that was a name I've been pumping since May. Jaden Daniels at 8%, just in line with average, so that's good. Terry also at 8%. I have Ben Sennett at 8%. I think Ertz's age is a red flag, so if he goes down, Sennett will pop off. But until Ertz goes down, I think Ertz has top 12 value at the tight end position, so is a value at tight end 20 off the board, but I'm worried he doesn't play the full season. So I'd rather grab Sennett straight up than Ertz. I will still take Ertz sometimes, in case I'm wrong. Brian Robinson, one of my most hated picks. I'm much more a fan of Eckler and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt instead. And then I have taken a swing on Jalen Lane, the rookie, a couple times, and Luke McCaffrey just once. But that's going to be it. That's it for my NFC exposures. And that's going to be it for the live stream. I hope y'all enjoyed. We got Jamie coming in with a question. Do I prefer Godwin or Downs? As of today, I'll go Josh Downs. But if you asked me 3 weeks ago, I probably would have said Chris Godwin. Not anymore. I'll go Josh Downs. Downs was really good last season. He's not as good when Richardson's the quarterback, but he was pretty good last season. And Godwin, I have no idea when he'll be healthy or what his role will look like when healthy. He might not be the same player because of that ankle injury. So give me Josh Downs over Chris Godwin. That's it, though. Hope you enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button and like button on your way out if you have not done so already. And I'll see you next time. Peace out. Good luck.